Done will announce it. The undercard of Canelo Crawford starts at 5:30 on the East Coast, and the prelims are awesome.
And I love me some Terrence Crawford. I really do.
Yeah, but here's the thing. 3 years ago, Canelo still had a little bit of a fastball.
But
He was a little bit sharper. He was like,
they both
he wasn't putting 3 and 4 punch combinations together, but he was at least putting 2 punch combinations together.
Dana White has finally broken his silence on the Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford fight, giving fans the update they've been waiting for. His comments reveal exactly where negotiations stand at the moment and what could happen next, and along with sharing updates and negotiations, Dana White shifted attention to the fight card itself. He pointed out that fans won't just be tuning in for the headliner, but for a full night of action. His remarks hinted that organizers are building strong support fights.
Done will announce it. The undercard of Canelo Crawford starts at 5:30 on the East Coast, and the prelims are awesome.
On the other side, editors and boxing insiders have been weighing in on the Canelo versus Crawford matchup. Ring Magazine's Dove Fisher gave his breakdown during a recent discussion. He compared Canelo's physical edge at super middleweight with Crawford's skill set, while also explaining why the weight difference matters so much. His comments demonstrate the balance between talent and size that makes this fight competitive.
It's an interesting matchup, but it's one that Canelo definitely wins because he's a super middleweight. Now, we could say pound for pound, Crawford's better than Canelo. You know, I think so. I think he's a better talented, better, more complete, versatile fighter than Canelo. But that doesn't mean he's a better super middleweight. It's really, it was that simple in my head. Crawford, so I was just like, I'm Team Canelo on this.
Fisher also talked about Canelo's latest fight, saying it's shown signs of decline. He mentioned Canelo's slower reflexes, problems with timing, and difficulty against fighters who move a lot. He used William Skull as an example, explaining that even though Canelo got the win, the performance exposed weaknesses. This is why some fans think Crawford might be able to take advantage.
Canelo on this, you know, but I still want to see the matchup. And then I saw Canelo in Riyadh against William School, and I'm like, oh man, he's falling off. Like, he just doesn't have the reflexes. He can't pull the trigger, especially on a moving target. And listen, Skull's a big guy. He's athletic, and he fought scared, no doubt about that. But despite the official scorecards, despite our good buddy Chris Mannix's scorecard, which I think he had 10 rounds to Canelo, I'm like, listen, I don't want to reward a guy who's boxing the way William Skull did, but Canelo wasn't landing. I mean, listen, I have no problem with Canelo winning that fight, but Skull was winning fights just on landing a jab and getting out of the way.
After reviewing Canelo's recent showing, Fisher admitted his opinion on the matchup had started to change. He explained that Crawford's decision to take this fight isn't only about money, but also about the risks in his weight division. By comparing options at junior middleweight with the opportunity against Canelo, Fisher highlighted why the challenge makes sense from both sporting and financial views.
Still doing it. Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
I was Team Canelo, and then after the School fight, I'm like, no, this is not an easy fight, but I get it. I get where Crawford's coming from, and it's not just a financial choice. It's not just like he's looking at the junior middleweight division saying like, good Lord, that's a jungle out there.
Doug,
like, yeah, maybe I can like have a mission of trying to unify titles at 154, but man, that's a serious
well, it's
gauntlet.
risk versus reward,
Yeah,
but Doug,
and you're getting paid well, but not like, generational money.
Look,
like
that's
he's making
that's
against
Mario.
Canelo.
I think that's the whole incentive
But
in that.
but
and that's the
also, I
factor
mean,
here.
yeah. Listen, now I'm flipping again.
Well, listen,
everything that you just said, I'm starting to think of that. And I'm going back and I'm looking at their fights, and I'm not just looking at Canelo looking slow against Skull.
Adding on, Fernando Vargas Jr. shared his thoughts on Canelo versus Crawford, comparing their strengths and weaknesses. He praised Crawford's skill and intelligence while noting that Canelo still has serious power. Vargas also explained his personal experience sparring with Crawford and the respect between them. His insight highlights how fighters view the matchup differently and why both talent and experience matter when predicting the outcome of such a high-profile fight.
Oh, no, man.
Everybody has their own take, right? Crawford's the best skilled fighter ever. Canelo has power, he's on his decline. It's interesting because Canelo, doesn't throw as many punches as he used to. They say he's on his decline. Crawford, he's a very skillful fighter, very smart. I've actually had the opportunity to spar with Crawford, and it's always respect between me and Crawford. You know, me and my family may not get along with the Davises or his stablemates. But at the end of the day, whenever we see Crawford, he'll go out of his way to say hi to my dad, to myself. So it's always respect with him. And I have a lot of respect for Crawford and what he's done.
Vargas Jr. then focused on weight classes and how they affect the fight. He noted Canelo struggled when moving up against bigger opponents, while Crawford could adapt to different eras and divisions. Despite Crawford's skill, Vargas believes Canelo's size and power give him an advantage, especially in the later rounds. This perspective highlights why physical factors like weight and reach are as important as skill in predicting fight outcomes.
I just feel there's respective weight classes for a reason. You saw Canelo when he moved up to 175 when he fought Bivol. You saw what happened there.
Yeah.
And I just feel Crawford is one of the best fighters ever, and he could fight in any respective weight class. He could fight in any generation in his respective weight class. I feel Canelo's going to be too much. I feel in the early rounds, I feel he could catch him with shots. You know, maybe Canelo will get frustrated by picking him up the way Canelo always gets frustrated. But I just feel Canelo will find him out. I think in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, the championship rounds, I believe he could stop him, or if not, get him out of there. I just think it's the weight, bro.
Finally, Vargas talked about the challenge Crawford faces against Canelo's power. He explained Crawford would need a perfect strategy to succeed and avoid unnecessary exchanges. Vargas warned that a careless approach could backfire, turning the fight in Canelo's favor. He emphasized that beyond skill, pride, legacy, and national support make this matchup as high stakes for both fighters.
My whole thing is, can Crawford take Canelo's best punch? If he could do that, and he has to fight a perfect game plan, like Benavidez, but like Benavidez' dad said, it's gonna be a Tom and Jerry type of fight, which I feel it'll be a Tom and Jerry fight if Crawford wins. If he sits there and wants to, exchange with Canelo, I feel that's not the right game plan. But I feel both know everything's on the line. Pride, your country behind you, everything, right? So I think both fighters are going to be in the best shape of their life.
Furthermore, Coach Joel Diaz gave his take on Crawford's career and the business side of boxing. He explained that Crawford struggled financially under Top Rank despite his talent. Diaz highlighted the importance of smart management and friendships in the sport, noting that these decisions can shape a fighter's opportunities. His insight helps fans understand why Crawford's path to a fight with Canelo is as much about business as skill.
Crawford?
Of course. I mean, I'm not going to change. When I say something, it's because I already analyzed it. In reality, business-wise, I mean, people can see my interviews and they can comment and say something about my opinion, but that's their opinion. I respect it, but this is what I see. What I see is a Crawford that was with Top Rank and never made money, never made those millions of dollars that he deserved to make, and became friends with Turki Al-Sheikh, which Turki Al-Sheikh announced it publicly. Terence Crawford is my favorite fighter of this era. He's my favorite fighter of this era. So, as friends, as business, in boxing, Terence Crawford wins.
Diaz then discussed the financial side of a potential Canelo fight. He explained that Crawford now has leverage and could earn massive sums, far more than earlier in his career. Even if the exact figure is uncertain, Diaz emphasized that Crawford is guaranteed a big payday. This perspective shows why the fight makes sense from a business standpoint and why Crawford can approach it confidently.
Wins money. Because now, hey, you know what, as my friend that you are, I make you an offer. Would you fight Canelo? I'll give you 40 million. I don't know if it's 40, I don't know if it's 50, 60, but he's not gonna make no less than $10 million. So right there, Crawford's winning, regardless. As a fighter, like, dude, you give me 20 million, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight Anthony Joshua right now. So Terence Crawford has to sell the fight. He has to say, I'll beat Canelo, left and right, whatever, right? But we've seen it.
Finally, Diaz analyzed the risks moving up in weight for championship fights. He gave examples of fighters who struggled after moving to divisions, like Mickey Garcia and others. This adds perspective to the Canelo vs. Crawford matchup, balancing Crawford's skill with potential difficulties at super middleweight, and showing why fans should consider both sides.
But we've seen it we've seen it many, many times. When fighters move up 2 divisions to beat a champion, they fail. I mean, I saw it with Mikey Garcia when he fought Earl Spence. I saw it when Demetrius Andre, a 147-pounder, was avoided for years. He moved to 54, he was avoided. He moved to 160, he fought maybe once or twice.
Moving on, Andy Ruiz shared his thoughts on Canelo vs. Crawford, focusing on the uncertainty in the fight. He admitted it's hard to predict how Crawford will handle Canelo's style and pressure. Drawing from his own experience facing Anthony Joshua, Ruiz explained that anything can happen in boxing. His comments highlight why even skilled fighters can be surprised when facing elite opponents in the ring.
First time fighting at 168, right? At 168. We don't know how he's going to move. I don't know if he's going to be that fast. I don't know if he's going to be able to handle his pressure, you know, because Canelo's really good at pressuring, coming forward, slipping, countering. But, you know, nobody believed in me when I was going to fight Anthony Joshua that I was going to win. So anything could happen, especially in this sport of boxing.
So you think he wins by points or a KO?
Canelo,
yeah.
It's crazy because he could win by a knockout. And Crawford could probably win by...
Ruiz then asked what might surprise Crawford the most in the fight. He emphasized Canelo's slick countering and ability to apply pressure effectively. Using the common boxing saying that plans often change once fighters get hit, Ruiz reminded fans that the unexpected often happens. His insight underscores that even with careful preparation, Crawford will face real challenges when stepping into the ring with Canelo.
Could probably win by moving around and making the fight a little difficult for Canelo, but like I said, anything could happen.
You train alongside Canelo. What do you think is going to surprise Crawford the most about Canelo?
I think the pressure and the countering that he does. You know, he's really slick inside that ring. You know, everybody has a plan until they get in there, until they get hit, like Mike Tyson would always say. But like I said, anything could happen.
All right, Andy, before I let you go, anything you want to leave with?
On the other hand, Dana White clarified his role in the Canelo vs. Crawford promotion, explaining why he wears a specific shirt during press events. He wanted to make it clear that he's representing the boxing match, not a UFC event. White emphasized that he and his team are fully managing the promotion, showing that his involvement goes beyond just appearances and highlights the crossover influence between boxing and UFC marketing.
I'm promoting the fight.
Yeah.
So the reason that I wear the Canelo Crawford shirt when I'm doing Canelo Crawford press is so people don't mistakenly think that I'm doing a UFC press conference. Because I think when everybody sees me, they associate UFC immediately. So yeah. I always wear the Canelo Crawford shirt when I'm doing a Canelo Crawford.
And you just have a strict like marketing deal with boxing for that fight?
No, I'm promoting the fight. Me and my team are running that fight.
Furthermore, Sean Porter talked about how he predicts fights and why people trust his opinions. He said that sometimes he sees things differently from others, and when he's right, it proves his judgment. Porter hopes his calls for big fights like Canelo vs. Crawford are accurate, and he also said he'll always stay involved in boxing no matter what happens.
Card,
Canelo, Crawford card,
Crawford and Canelo. You know, funny man, I'm known for calling the Crawford and Madrimov fight opposite of everybody else that I was with.
Yeah.
And you know, while I called it opposite, I felt like I called it right. And I feel like, you know, that's kind of validates me to be able to call this fight, you know. So I'm hoping something comes through. If not, I'll always be around.
Just based off.
Building on that, Sean shared his observations from visiting Crawford's camp, explaining how he studies fighters to understand their mindset. He looks at how they train, think, and prepare for big fights. Porter emphasized that seeing a fighter's passion, discipline, and focus firsthand gives him confidence in predicting their performance. His insights show the importance of both mental and physical preparation in boxing at the elite level.
You know, my thing when I watch fighters, I want to see what you're thinking. You know, I have the ability to actually look into your mind and see, you know, how that thing is turning, you know. He sparred the day that I went over there and saw him, and when he got out of the ring and we stood there and talked a while, he confirmed everything that I thought I was seeing, you know. So he's verging that peaking process. He's getting stronger. still loving it, which is, you know, to me, that's the biggest part of it. When you have a level of passion for something that passion is commanded of you. You know, he's got all that. Went to his house afterwards, and, you know, just to see his family, friends, you know, the whole team, everybody staying in the same house, eating the same food. He's comfortable. But for someone who's been uncomfortable for a long time, he knows how to balance it, you know what I mean? And so I like everything that I saw from Crawford's camp. I didn't really make a move to get into Canelo's camp. Not sure if I would be invited in. Would love that opportunity. So maybe in this week we'll entertain that. I got a free weekend coming.
I don't know if you can share.
Adding on, Agis Kavalauskas shared his initial reaction when hearing rumors about the Canelo vs. Crawford fight. At first, he worried about Crawford facing a bigger, stronger opponent. Kavalauskas reflected on his respect for both fighters, mentioning his admiration for Crawford after sparring with him, and this perspective shows how opinions can change as you consider a fighter's speed, intelligence, and overall skill in the ring.
What do you think of the fight?
Oh, it's gonna be a good fight. So I can start from like when there was just rumors about this fight happening, even before the announcement, there was rumors. I'm like, God damn it, like it's gonna be like too much for Crawford. Like Canelo is too big, too strong. Like Crawford and Canelo, they're like too much, like more like one, like the favorite boxer for me. I love Canelo, I love Crawford. Even like after I fought Crawford, I become his fan. Like he's an amazing boxer. So when it was like rumors, I'm like, oh no, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart.
Agis then explained why size isn't the main factor in determining the winner. He used examples like Usyk defeating bigger opponents to highlight skill over weight. He believes Crawford's boxing IQ, speed, and ring awareness give him a strong chance. While the matchup is close, Kavalauskas feels Crawford has the edge, showing that preparation, intelligence, and adaptability in the ring often outweigh pure size or power.
Canelo's a good boxer. I'm not saying like not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way like when you see like, oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size and that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be like even faster, and like his head works good in the ring. He's like boxing IQ is just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
Furthermore, Jay Smith explained the role of weight in the Canelo vs. Crawford fight, focusing on how fighters can adjust after making the official limit. Without a rehydration clause, both can weigh whatever they want for fight night, and Smith raised questions about how much Crawford and Canelo will weigh in the ring, showing that understanding post-weigh-in weight is crucial for predicting stamina, power, and overall strategy.
Conversation. Well, there's no rehydration clause. So obviously, once both fighters make weight, which we expect them to, they can go into the fight weighing whatever they want. Whatever they want. So we have to wonder, what weight is Terence Crawford going to be at going into this fight? And the same for Canelo Alvarez. Superman in the building. Bam! Salute, my guy. Because if Terence Crawford is walking around not walking around, was training in the 180s, it makes me wonder, okay.
Smith talked about the idea that Crawford is too small for Canelo. He said that even though Crawford trains at higher weights, he never looks small in face-offs or past fights. Smith explained that people often judge size over skill, but what matters is Crawford's preparation, speed, and ability to handle bigger opponents, not just rumors about his weight.
For sparring, running, doing your gym stuff in the 180s, now you're gonna cut down to 168 to make weight. But are you gonna go back up to right around that for fight night, or are you gonna stay lower? Are you gonna stay in the 170s? Superman, but Ben too small. smoke and everything. Let them keep talking, fam. I'm saying, handling business. But to be honest, the whole narrative of he's too small.
Smith then used past fights to explain his point. He mentioned Canelo's 168-pound match with William Skull to show that Crawford can handle opponents of similar size. By looking at these examples, he reassured fans that the fight is fair. Smith emphasized that skill, experience, and preparation matter more than just size or weight differences when predicting who will win the matchup.
I've always fought back against that. If you notice, I've been consistent with trying to explain to people Terence Crawford is not too small for Canelo Alvarez. That's a narrative that people want to believe, but we saw them face off multiple times. They really look too big in front of Crawford. Can we really say that? He did not. In fact, the night that Canelo Alvarez fought William Skull,
after hearing from Dana White, fighters and analysts, it's clear that Canelo vs. Crawford is shaping up to be more than just a clash of power and skill. Every detail from weight preparation and strategy to mental toughness will matter on fight night. Fans are getting a complete picture of why this matchup is high stakes and why the outcome could go either way. Both fighters' experience, adaptability, and ability to handle pressure will be tested, making this one of the most anticipated and closely analyzed fights in recent boxing history. Every punch, counter, and tactical decision could shift the balance in an instant. Who do you think will come out on top? Canelo's power or Crawford's skill? Comment your prediction below.